So for the ancient Greeks, this sense of freedom from any kind of disorder or dispute later turned into, in the Romanized world, more of a spiritual state of peace. So it specifically, pace or pax, P-A-X, were used as words to talk about sort of an interior state of tranquility, of a sense of peace that surpassed civil and domestic order and went into a deeper spiritual place of calm. Then later in the medieval period, something I find fascinating, peace was used not just for a sense of calm or harmony, but it was used in reference to a sense of contentment, a state of happiness that surpassed circumstances, that was an abiding joy that did not depend on what was going on in one's context. And then, of course, as Paul put it, when Christianity really took hold, he used it as a sense of God's abiding presence that surpassed our human understanding. So this last biblical reference is one that, quite frankly, resonates most with me, because while I can give you a rundown of the etymology of a word, it is a completely other thing to be able to describe the living, breathing reality of something such as peace. I don't know about you, but I know for myself throughout this pandemic, there has been this undercurrent of constant anxiety, worry, questions, fears that are far-flung at time, and fears that are very much right at home sometimes. And I, in all honesty, have some days where I feel like I'm barely keeping it together. And as a pastor, it maybe is a bad thing to admit that, but that's just the truth. None of us are inoculated from feeling worry or fear or anxiety, not just as it relates to the pandemic, but in general as Christians. And I think that's a falsehood that pervades our modern era, especially, that you shouldn't feel fear or anxiety or depression just because you're a faithful follower of Jesus. And that clearly just has no biblical precedence, because, for example, we look at today's gospel scripture and we see the first things Jesus says are the words, "Peace be with you." So it makes me feel, honestly, a little better when I have my moments where I feel like screaming like May Lynn at Shelby's funeral, asking why and asking about the future and how will this all work out. So I was wondering if I was the only one feeling these things and struggling with this sense of abiding peace, especially in the Easter season. So I decided to go to some congregants' front porches and knock on their doors and ask them to talk to me about their own experience of pax, pace, peace. So check this out.